Scientists and laypeople alike were astonished when in 2019 an ancient ship was discovered at the bottom of the sea. Dating back to the times of Christopher Columbus, this ship was thought to have sunk around the time of his discovery of the New World. It's not so uncommon to find shipwrecks from long ago, but this ship was different. Not only was its condition completely unexpected, but it also revealed a lot from the moment in history that it came from. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Christopher Columbus was an Italian explorer living in the 15th century. He is widely regarded as the spearhead of the European colonization of the Americas, having taken 4 fleets from Spain to the New World between 1492 and 1502. Columbus's time was part of an enormous era of technological innovation and social and cultural developments. But it was his discovery of the Americas that would change the course of modern history forever. Yet there's still a huge amount that we don't know about Columbus and the era in which he lived. But it wasn't until a few years ago that a group of scientists uncovered some of the biggest secrets from the era. The era of Christopher Columbus is often referred to as the Age of Discovery because so many scientific, geographical, social, and cultural developments were made across the world. But as well as the continuous change brought about by the constant new discoveries, it was also quite an uncertain time because various conflicts took place across the world. In particular, a 3-year war between Sweden and Denmark from 1521 and 1523, and another war between Sweden and Russia from 1554 to 1557 left the world with great mysteries, and one such mystery was answered with the discovery of a long-forgotten ship. Of course, in today's world, we see unprecedented developments in science and technology at an incredible speed never seen before in history. Maritime archaeologists have been able to tell us a huge amount about our planet and its history, based on what they have been able to find and trace in the ocean. However, even the most experienced and well-respected scientists were not prepared for the discovery of this 500-year-old ship. They had no idea what they were about to discover and the secrets it would tell us about history. The earliest hint towards the presence of this ship in the depths of the ocean was in 2009. Back then, a sonar survey by the Swedish Maritime Administration found a strange blip on their radar somewhere around the bottom of the Baltic Sea. They couldn't work out what it was, but they knew that there was something unusual down there. The problem was, back in 2009, the technology wasn't advanced enough for them to investigate any further. The Baltic Sea is one of the most interesting stretches of water in the world. Connecting to the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean in northern Europe, it borders Scandinavia, Finland, Russia, the Baltic countries, Poland, and Germany. The sea is unusually low and salt, which means that the northernmost parts of it freeze during the winter, so much so that cars can drive over it. In 2011, a sonar anomaly was discovered, and there were rumors that this was the sign of a sunken UFO. The Baltic Sea, though only a sea rather than an ocean, is still renowned for being a difficult sea to traverse. The cold weather makes for fearsome winds, and many a ship has sunk without a trace in its depths. No one could ever have expected to find a shipwreck once it has been lost to these waters, not least one from 500 years ago. As we know, the first signs of this ship's presence in the depths of the Baltic Sea were detected by a sonar robotic camera in 2009. Because of the technological limitations of the time, no one was able to investigate it any further. But the scientists still did not forget it was there, and a whole decade later, in 2019, they were finally able to send down machinery to find out once and for all what it was. But no one was prepared for the full extent of what they were about to discover. Normally, when a ship sinks, it doesn't take long for it to start decaying naturally and otherwise being destroyed by the elements. When a ship as old as this one, a whopping 500 years, is found at the bottom of the ocean, it would ordinarily be expected to have disintegrated almost completely. The scientists were hoping to find a few pieces of the ship that they could perhaps analyze and make some educated guesses about where it had come from. This is why they were so incredibly surprised by what their underground cameras did in fact show them. The research team was astonished by what they saw. When they sent their cameras and technological team down to the depths of the Baltic Sea, they didn't just find the remains of an ancient ship. They found the ship in its entirety, preserved completely with almost no decay. Its hull was completely intact from keel to deck, and the masts and some rigging were even still present. The scientists couldn't believe what they were seeing, but there were even more surprises to come. Another thing the scientists found was a second, smaller boat within the main boat. This boat was resting on the deck and leaning against the mainmast. Incredibly, this boat was made of wood but had been preserved almost completely. The research team concluded that this smaller boat functioned as a vessel for carrying crew members to the larger ship and back again. How could this tiny boat, made of wood, an utterly biodegradable substance, have survived for so long at the bottom of the ocean? The research team was simply astonished and couldn't believe that this ancient boat had somehow withstood the ravages of nature. Johan Rundby, director of the Maritime Archaeology Research Institute of Södertörn University, said to the New York Times, "It's something special because it's so extremely well preserved. It really looks fantastic." But this incredible discovery wasn't just amazing because of how unexpected it was. It also gave the scientists information about this time period that they had never thought they would see. Rundby explained that his team had been researching for years about the age of exploration and the kinds of ships that existed at this time. He said that they knew a lot, but there are gaps. This new discovery was amazing because it filled in the gaps missing in the scientists' years of research. These kinds of discoveries are really, really important for our understanding of history, Rundby said, explaining that this ship would be able to give us a new insight into the structure of 15th century sailing ships and what was going on around them at the time. And this wooden boat wasn't the only thing the researchers found on board. Within the incredibly preserved wreck, scientists also found a wooden bilge pump. This would have been used to remove water from the bilge, the part of the hull that touches the ground when not out at sea. This part can often fill with water if not emptied regularly. They also found a capstan, a wide cylinder used for winding up lengths of rope. But there were more discoveries to come that would tell the team even more about this fascinating ship. Another thing the research team found on the ancient ship was its anchor. Again, incredibly well preserved against the ravages of time and forces of nature. Rodrigo Pacheco Ruiz, a maritime archaeologist at the University of Southampton, UK, spoke to the New York Times about the discovery and what it meant for the progress of their historical research. He explained that the presence of this anchor is what enabled the scientists to date the ship back to the late 15th or early 16th century. This discovery had already amazed scientists and laypeople around the world. It was astonishing that a ship could be so preserved at the bottom of the ocean, let alone one dating back as far as the 15th century. Scientists estimated that the ship was a merchant's vessel, but there was one thing about it that didn't quite match up with this, and solving this mystery would give the research team an incredible insight into the world events going on at the time. The strange thing about this ship that had all the scientists and marine archaeologists baffled was the various equipment on board the ship. The team was pretty sure that this was a merchant ship and not a warship, but for some reason, the vessel was still equipped with swivel guns. Swivel guns are small cannons that are built into the side of a ship that can turn to fire at an oncoming enemy in all directions. The official expedition report stated that the presence of these cannons was a testament of the tension at the time. The fact that a simple merchant ship was prepared with weapons in case of an attack suggests that the time period was fraught with battles and conflict, even for those not directly engaged in combat. Between the years 1521 and 1523, there was a civil war in Sweden, where rebels fought to overthrow the Danish king Christian II. The team speculated that the ship could have been sailing during this time and had to take precautions against the surrounding violence. Not long after, Sweden and Russia engaged in a 4-year conflict over border disputes. In one brutal battle, Russian forces attacked the town of Viborg with 20,000 men. Though outnumbered, the Swedes managed to beat them back. A treaty was signed in 1557, but the atmosphere remained tense, which explains why ships might have been armed. The ship's cannons offered more than just defense, they revealed important clues. Though not a warship, the vessel was equipped with cannons in a ready-to-fire position, suggesting it may have been involved in battle, possibly even at the time of its sinking. This discovery gave researchers valuable insight into the political and social climate of the period. But the ship itself was also larger than expected. Measuring an estimated 50–60 feet, it matched the size of the largest ship in Christopher Columbus's fleet. The Santa Maria, Columbus's flagship during his 1492 voyage, was about 60 feet long. The Nina and the Pinta, which accompanied it, were closer to 50 feet each. The Santa Maria carried a crew of 52, while the others had about 18 each. The Santa Maria sank a few months after reaching the New World, after striking reefs off the Haitian coast. Columbus reportedly used the ship's timbers to construct a fort nearby. A map drawn by Columbus shows the exact location of the wreck. While Columbus's fleet has long fascinated historians, this new shipwreck offered fresh revelations about an era that was thought to be fully explored. The icy waters of the Baltic Sea played a major role in preserving the ship so well. The cold, low-oxygen environment limited the presence of organisms that would normally decay wood, leaving the wreck in remarkably good condition after more than 500 years. Though thrilled with the discovery, the research team wasn't slowing down. Their next goal is to retrieve a piece of the ship's wood for scientific testing, which could confirm the exact year the ship was built. Modern technology can extract a surprising amount of detail from such a sample. In addition, the team is developing AI-powered robotic cameras capable of capturing clearer, more detailed images in deep, dark waters. These advancements allow for better exploration of submerged artifacts and could revolutionize marine archaeology. Using this technology, scientists were able to generate a precise 3D model of the ship by compiling high-resolution images. This virtual reconstruction lets researchers examine the entire vessel in detail, despite it being underwater and fragmented. The global research community celebrated the discovery. The vessel's condition and historical context provided rare insights into a turbulent era. Experts were especially astonished by how intact the wreck remained, shedding new light on 16th-century maritime practices. "It's amazing," said Rodrigo Pacheco Ruiz. "We're still a little bit over the moon." As the scientific world celebrates this groundbreaking find, the next steps are already underway. The team aims to dig deeper into the vessel's secrets. Regardless of what's uncovered next, this discovery has already transformed our understanding of a fascinating period in history. One thing's for sure, as technology advances, so too does our ability to uncover the hidden stories of the past.